Now, let's hook you right in. Imagine this. You've built your entire life around a shared dream, the perfect home, the stable finances, the one precious child you've both waited years for. You're holding your newborn daughter, feeling that rush of unbreakable love, when a single phone call unravels everything. Your husband, the man who's been your rock since you were teenagers, has been lying to your face about money, hiding tens of thousands while you sacrifice your career to stay home. And when confronted, he sobs, "I just wanted something that was only mine." But in that moment, your trust shatters like glass. You decide on revenge that's not violent or flashy. No, it's calculated, hitting him where it hurts most, his deepest trauma. By the end, he's begging, broken, and you're reclaiming your power. Sound satisfying? Oh, it gets better. Stick around. This is the kind of story that makes you cheer for justice. If you've ever felt that sting of betrayal in a relationship, that gut-wrenching realization that the person you trust most has been playing you, then hit that like button right now. It helps the algorithm spread these tales of triumph. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We've got more emotionally charged revenge stories coming your way every week. Share this with a friend who's been through the ringer. They might need the validation today. All right, let's dive into the heart of it. Our story begins with a couple we'll call Anna and Mark. Both 32 now, but their love story stretches back to when they were just 19, fresh-faced kids navigating the chaos of young adulthood. Picture this: a small college town, autumn leaves crunching underfoot as they meet at a campus coffee shop. Anna, with her sharp wit and ambitious drive, studying business administration. Mark, the quiet engineering major with a gentle smile that hid a world of quiet determination. Their first date? A simple picnic by the river, sharing dreams under a fading sunset. "I want stability," Anna remembers thinking, her heart fluttering as Mark opened up about his own aspirations. A family, but done right. No rushing into chaos. Little did she know, those words would define their entire future. Or so she thought. From the start, they were planners. Meticulous ones. Not the spontaneous types who leap without looking. No, Anna and Mark built their relationship like architects crafting a skyscraper. Foundation first, every beam calculated. They talked endlessly about their goals. Careers that paid well, a home that felt like a sanctuary, savings that could weather any storm. And at the center of it all, one child, just one. They both agreed, quality over quantity. "We want to give our kid everything," Mark would say, his eyes lighting up. The attention, the security, no splitting focus. But there was a shadow in those dreams, one that Mark carried like a hidden scar. You see, Mark had lost his baby brother in the most horrific way imaginable. Back in 2017, when Mark is already building his career. His brother's life was cut short at just 5 months old. A daycare worker's negligence, a moment of carelessness that ended in tragedy. The details, you're gruesome, the kind that haunt families for generations. Mark rarely spoke of it in depth, but when he did, his voice would crack, his fists clench, "I can't let that happen to us," he'd whisper to Anna late at night, holding her close. "Daycare? Never. Our child deserves a full-time parent at home." Anna, empathetic to her core, nodded fiercely. She loved him for his protectiveness, for the way it showed his depth. So they adjusted their blueprint. Once the baby came, she'd step back from her job, become the stay-at-home mom. It meant sacrificing her own career trajectory. She'd been climbing the ladder in marketing, pulling in a solid salary, but for their family, worth it. They just needed to make sure everything was perfect first. Years ticked by, each one a step toward that perfection. They hustled. Anna poured her earnings into their joint account, every paycheck a brick in their shared fortress. Mark did the same, or so she believed. They saved aggressively. $500,000 in investments by their early 30s. Bonds, savings accounts, diversified portfolios that made their financial advisor beam. "You two are set," he'd say during annual reviews. They bought the house, a cozy 3-bedroom in the suburbs, with a backyard big enough for a swing set and summer barbecues. White picket fence vibes, but modernized with smart home tech and energy-efficient windows. And the boat? Oh, that was their splurge, a symbol of "we made it." A sleek little cruiser for weekend escapes on the lake, where they'd sip wine and dream about teaching their future child to fish. Anna felt secure in those moments, wrapped in the warmth of their achievements. "We've got this," she'd tell herself, glancing at Mark as he grilled steaks on the deck. But steaks? Funny how little things foreshadow big betrayals. More on that later. 2 years ago, with their ducks impeccably in a row, they started trying for a baby. It wasn't instant. A few months of anxious waiting, pregnancy tests that teased with fate lines. But when it happened, joy exploded like fireworks. Anna's pregnancy was a mix of bliss and bumps. At 5 months, a scare. Placenta abruption, forcing her to leave work early. Bed rest, doctor's orders. Mark stepped up magnificently. He'd rush home from his engineering job, cook meals, rub her feet, handle the chores. "I've got you," he'd murmur, kissing her forehead. "Focus on our little girl." Their daughter arrived 4 weeks ago. Perfect, plump cheeks, a cry that melted hearts. 8 pounds, healthy as can be. Anna bounced back quickly, thanks to Mark's support. He took paternity leave. Changed diapers at 2 a.m. Let her nap while he handled feeds. He's my hero, she thought, watching him cradle their baby with such tenderness. But heroes can fall, can't they? And sometimes the fall starts with a phone call. It was an ordinary afternoon. Sun filtering through the nursery curtains, the baby napping peacefully in her crib. Anna, still in her postpartum haze, a mix of exhaustion and euphoria, picked up the ringing phone. It was DHHS, the Department of Health and Human Services, following up on health insurance options for the newborn. She'd given them all the info yesterday. Socials, birth dates, the works. Just waiting for verification. The caseworker sounded friendly, efficient. "Based on your household income, your daughter isn't eligible for state insurance," she explained. "Your husband's gross monthly is $10,920, which exceeds the cutoff of $7,830. Anna froze. The phone suddenly heavy in her hand. $10,920 gross? That couldn't be right. For months, Mark had been telling her his take-home was $6,000 after taxes. She'd budgeted around that, carefully, frugally, especially now that she was out of work. "We have to watch our spending," he'd said just last week. vetoing steak for dinner. $38 on 2 cuts? That's a waste, babe. Let's do chicken instead. Her mind raced as the call wrapped up. No problem, she managed to say, her voice steady despite the storm brewing inside. We'll add her to our private plan. But as she hung up, a cold dread settled in her gut. Physical sensations hit her like waves. Heart pounding, palms slick with sweat, a tightness in her chest that made breathing shallow. What if? The thought trailed off, but she couldn't ignore it. Quietly, so as not to wake the baby, she slipped into Mark's home office. His computer hummed softly, password protected, but familiar. They'd shared everything, right? Wrong. Logging in felt like crossing a line. But curiosity, no, suspicion propelled her. Bank app open, statements scrolling. There it was. Monthly deposits averaging $8,500 take home. And transfers, consistent, sly, siphoning anything over $6,000 into an account she didn't recognize. Over $45,000 sitting there, untouched, secret. Her vision blurred with hot tears. Betrayal wasn't just a word. It was a visceral ache, like a knife twisting in our stomach. Internal dialogue screamed, "How long? Why? We've planned this for years. My money always joint. His too. Or so I thought." She paced the room, fists clenched, nails digging into palms. The house, once a haven, felt like a cage. Confrontation time. She called him at work, voice trembling, but firm. "We need to talk. Now." He came home early, face pale, eyes avoiding hers. The baby stirred in the background, a soft coo that underscored the tension. "What's going on?" he asked, but he knew. Oh, he knew. "You've been lying," Anna said, showing him the statements on the screen. Her words came out clipped, laced with fury. "Hiding money, telling me we're tight on cash while you hoard $45K. For what, Mark? Something that's only mine?" He crumpled then, sinking into the chair. Head in hands, sobs shook his shoulders, real, gut-wrenching cries. I don't know. I just felt like everything was ours, and I wanted control, something separate. I'm sorry, Anna. Please. But apologies don't mend shattered trust. Not when you've quit your job, upended your life, all based on a shared vision, now revealed as a facade. Anna's mind whirled. Powerlessness surged, then anger, then resolve. This changes everything, she thought. I can't stay vulnerable like this. The turning point hit her like lightning. I'm going back to work, she declared, voice steady despite the tears streaming down her face. And the baby's going to daycare. Mark's reaction was immediate, devastating. He froze, eyes widening in horror. "No, Anna, please, you know why. My brother, I can't." "We agreed." His voice broke, pleading, hands reaching for hers, but she pulled away, heart hardening. "You broke the agreement first, hiding money while I pour everything into us." "No more. I need to protect myself and her." The air thickened with unspoken pain. Mark's trauma, once a bond, now a weapon in her arsenal. Revenge wasn't about destruction. It was about reclamation, hitting him where his fears lived deepest. As the sun set that evening, Anna sat by the window, baby in arms, plotting her next steps, job applications, daycare research, safeguards against a future now uncertain. The injustice burned. Years of planning, her sacrifices dismissed for his selfish something mine. But oh, the satisfaction brewing, it would be sweet. And that's just the beginning, folks. The betrayal deepens, the plans unfold, and the payoff? Chef's kiss. Stay tuned as we escalate this emotional storm. We left off at the exact moment Anna's world cracked open, the secret bank account glowing on the screen, $45,000 staring back at her like a slap in the face. Mark on his knees, sobbing, begging forgiveness. And Anna, our fierce, exhausted new mom, delivering the line that would echo through their marriage like a gunshot. I'm putting the baby in daycare and going back to work. In that single sentence, she wasn't just protecting her finances. She was weaponizing his deepest trauma against the lie he built. And folks, that's where the real story begins. Because Mark didn't take it lying down. No, what followed was weeks of emotional warfare that would push Anna to places she never thought she'd go. Let's step back into their home, the evening of the confrontation. The nursery nightlight casts a soft amber glow over the rocking chair where Anna sits, breastfeeding their 4-week-old daughter. The baby's tiny hand curls around Anna's finger, that perfect, trusting grip. While downstairs, Mark paces the kitchen like a caged animal. You can hear his footsteps, heavy, erratic, stopping, starting again. Every creak of the floorboards feels like another layer of tension tightening around Anna's chest. He climbs the stairs slowly, as if approaching a bomb. Appears in the doorway. Eyes red-rimmed, voice hoarse from crying. He flinches like she struck him. It wasn't stealing. It was insurance, a safety net, just in case. In case of what? She finally meets his eyes, and the coldness there makes him take a step back. The trauma card. I lost my brother because someone else was supposed to keep him safe and didn't. Tears streaming again. I'll transfer it all back tomorrow. Every cent. I'll close the account. Just don't take her away from you. Don't put her in danger because I was stupid. Anna feels it then, that tug. The old love. The years of shared dreams. The way he'd held her hand through every contraction. But underneath it, a new sensation. Rage. Ice cold and clarifying. She looks down at him and says the words that will haunt him. You don't get to cry your way out of consequences, Mark. Not this time. The next few days were a masterclass in gaslighting. Mark swung between extremes like a pendulum. 1 minute, remorseful husband bringing her favorite coffee in bed, whispering apologies while the baby slept on his chest. Anna would feel her jaw clench so hard her teeth ached. Emergencies like what? The $500,000 in investments wasn't enough? The house equity? The boat we apparently can't afford to fuel anymore because money's so tight? He'd deflect. You're hormonal, postpartum. This is PPD talking. We should get you help. That one hit like a gut punch, because what new mom hasn't worried about PPD? What new mom hasn't lain awake at 3 a.m. wondering if her rage is normal or if she's losing her mind. Anna would retreat to the nursery, door closed, rocking the baby, while hot tears soaked the tiny onesie. Internal monologue racing. Am I crazy? Is $45,000 hidden from your stay-at-home wife really not that big a deal? Am I destroying our family over money? But then she'd remember every single paycheck she'd earned before quitting had gone straight into their joint account. No secret funds, no just in case. While he'd been quietly building his escape hatch, she'd been all in, vulnerable. And that vulnerability now felt like a noose. Week 2 postpartum, Anna's body still healing, breasts aching from nursing, sleep fractured into 2-hour chunks. Mark escalated. He started leaving articles on her phone about daycare horrors, SIDS cases in facilities, abuse scandals. One night, he even played a news clip on the living room TV while she was folding tiny laundry, a hidden camera expose on negligent workers. The baby's cries in the background of the footage made Anna's blood run cold. He watched her face, waiting for surrender. See, this is what you want for our daughter? She turned to him slowly, laundry forgotten. No, Mark, this is what you forced me into, because you decided your need for control was more important than my trust. His face crumpled again. More tears. Always the tears. I said I'd give it back. I did. Look, he pulled up the banking app, showed the transfer. $45,000 now sitting in their joint savings. It's there, all of it. Please, Anna, let's go to counseling. Let's fix this. For a fleeting moment, she wavered. Counseling sounded reasonable, adult. Maybe they could rebuild. But then came the comment that lit the final fuse. They were in the kitchen, Anna warming a bottle while the baby fussed in the swing. Mark, trying to help, reached for the formula tin. We should really cut back on expenses anyway, he said casually. Now that you're not working, we're down to one income. Maybe sell the boat? It's a money pit. The bottle slipped in her hand, clattering into the sink. She turned, eyes blazing. Sell the boat? The boat we bought with our joint savings, including every dollar I ever earned. The one you insisted was our reward for hard work? Now that I'm staying home, like we planned, suddenly it's a money pit? He backpedaled immediately. I just meant no, she said, voice deadly quiet. You meant that now I'm financially dependent. You get to make unilateral decisions again, just like the secret account, just like telling me we can't afford steak while you sat on 45 grand. That night, Anna didn't sleep. She lay in the dark, listening to Mark's even breathing beside her, feeling the baby's warm weight in the bassinet. And something shifted permanently. The love was still there, tangled and complicated, but the trust, gone, buried under layers of lies and manipulation. By morning, her resolve was iron. She opened her laptop while Mark was in the shower, updated her resume. It had been years, but her marketing portfolio was strong. Reached out to old colleagues on LinkedIn. Taking meetings again soon. Would love to catch up. Started researching high-end daycares, the expensive ones with webcams, degreed teachers, spotless records. The kind that cost more than some mortgages, but promised safety. When Mark emerged, towel around his waist, he found her at the kitchen island, spreadsheets open. What are you doing? Planning, she said without looking up. I've got 3 interviews lined up next week. Remote positions, senior level. And I toured Little Explorers Academy yesterday. Waitlist, but they'll make room for the right family. His face drained of color. Anna, we can figure this out. I'll take a second job if we need more money. Anything but daycare. She finally looked at him, and for the first time, he saw no softness there. You don't get it, do you? This isn't about the money anymore. It's about the fact that you proved without a shadow of doubt that when push comes to shove, you'll protect yourself first. And I can't raise our daughter in a marriage where her mother is disposable. He started crying again, quieter this time, defeated. But Anna felt something new blooming inside her chest. Not just anger, power, because the revenge wasn't going to be loud or dramatic. It was going to be systematic, cold, irreversible. She was going to rebuild her career bigger than before, secure her own income, and yes, she was going to put their perfect daughter in the safest, most loving daycare money could buy. Every day, Mark would drop her off and pick her up, forced to face the reality of what his betrayal had cost them. But we're just getting started, friends, because Anna didn't just stop at daycare. Over the next months, she orchestrated a comeback that left Mark reeling, financially, emotionally, and in ways he never saw coming. We'll watch Anna transform from devastated new mom to unstoppable force. The job offers, the promotions, the moment Mark realizes the secret account wasn't the only power move in this marriage, and the delicious, heartbreaking climax where every lie comes home to roost. You won't want to miss what happens when a woman decides she's done being underestimated. If you've been with us through parts 1 and 2, you know exactly how deep the knife went. Anna, 4 weeks postpartum, holding her perfect newborn daughter while discovering her husband of 13 years had been secretly siphoning money for who knows how long. $45,000 hidden away just in case, while she sacrificed her career, her body, her financial independence, all for a dream they supposedly built together. And when she drew the hardest boundary of her life, I'm going back to work, and our daughter is going into daycare. Mark didn't just cry. He waged war, gaslighting, trauma dumping, guilt trips thick enough to choke on. But here's the thing about hitting rock bottom, folks. Sometimes the only way left is up. And Anna? She didn't just climb, she launched. Let's pick up right where we left off. That sleepless night, after Mark casually suggested selling the boat now that she wasn't contributing. Anna, lying in the dark, staring at the ceiling fans spinning lazy circles. Her daughter's soft baby breaths, the only sound cutting through the silence. Something crystallized in that moment. A cold, clear fury that turned into fuel. By 5 a.m., while Mark still snored beside her, Anna was already at the kitchen island, laptop open, coffee brewing, resume glowing on the screen like a battle plan. She didn't just dust off the old version. No, she rewrote it from scratch, highlighted every campaign she'd led before quitting, every metric she'd crushed, the awards, the promotions. She added a new section: strategic brand consultant, freelance, present, A little white lie? Maybe. But she knew the freelance gigs were coming. She'd make sure of it. First thing Monday morning, while Mark was in the shower, she fired off messages to her old network. Not desperate pleas, confident reach-outs. Hey Jenna, long time. I'm easing back into the space after maternity leave. Would love your thoughts on remote senior roles in the pipeline. Marcus, hope you're well. Stepping back into marketing strategy, any openings at your firm I should know about? The responses flooded in faster than she expected. People remembered her, loved her work, were thrilled she was back. By the end of that first week, she had 3 Zoom interviews locked in, all senior level, all fully remote, all paying more than she'd made pre-baby. Mark noticed the shift immediately. The way she carried herself taller, the quiet confidence when she dressed nicely for video calls, hair blown out, nursing-friendly blouse hiding the milk stains. Who's the interview with? He'd ask, trying to sound casual. Doesn't matter, she'd reply coolly, adjusting her ring light. Just exploring options. You could see it eating at him, the control slipping, the narrative no longer his to write. Meanwhile, Anna tackled the daycare question with the precision of a military operation. She didn't just Google daycare near me. She researched like a woman protecting her child from the very fears her husband weaponized. She toured 5 facilities, asked the hard questions, requested references from current parents, demanded to see staff background checks, teacher-to-child ratios, daily schedules. She chose Little Explorers Academy, the one with the 6-month wait list, the one that cost $2,200 a month, the one with live webcams in every room, organic meals, and early childhood educators with master's degrees. When she told Mark, his reaction was predictable. Face ashen, voice cracking. That's more than our mortgage. We can't afford. We can, she cut in, especially once I'm working again. And even if we couldn't, we'd make it work, because my peace of mind is worth it. He tried one last desperate play. Let me stay home then. I'll cut my hours. We'll figure out the money. Anna almost laughed. Almost. You think I'd quit my job again and trust you not to build another secret account the moment I'm dependent? No, Mark. You lost that privilege. The first job offer came 2 weeks later. Senior Director of Brand Strategy at a fast-growing tech startup. Fully remote. $165,000 base plus bonus and equity. $20,000 more than Mark made. She accepted on the spot. When she told him that night, holding their daughter while he cooked dinner, chicken, again. His spatula froze mid-stir. 165, he repeated, voice small. Yep, starts in 4 weeks after my maternity leave buffer. She kissed the baby's fuzzy head. Which means Little Explorers needs that deposit by Friday. Mark didn't cry this time. He just nodded, defeated. Transferred the $4,000 enrollment fee from their joint account without a word. And that, friends, was only the beginning of Anna's ascent. Over the next 6 months, she didn't just return to work. She dominated. Her new role? Perfect fit. Creative freedom. Brilliant team. Leadership that valued her input. Within 3 months, she'd led a rebranding campaign that boosted customer acquisition by 42%. The CEO sent a company-wide email praising her. Her bonus check? $28,000. She opened her own high-yield savings account. Not secret, she told Mark it existed. But it was hers alone. Direct deposit split. 30% into her account. 70% joint. For emergencies, she said with a tight smile. Just in case. Mark watched the balance grow every month. Watched her confidence bloom. Watched her laugh genuinely again. Not at him, but with colleagues on Zoom. With mom friends she'd met at daycare pickup. Speaking of daycare, their daughter thrived. Came home with art projects, new words, giggles that lit up the room. The webcams showed her, napping peacefully, eating avocado mash, being rocked by teachers who adored her. Mark logged in obsessively during work breaks, relief warring with guilt every time he saw her safe and happy. But the real turning point, the moment Anna knew she'd won, came at the 6-month mark. It was a random Tuesday. Anna wrapping up a client presentation from her home office, feeling that high of nailing it. Mark texted, "Can we talk tonight? Important." She braced herself. Another plea? Another manipulation? That evening after the baby was down, he sat across from her at the kitchen table. Same spot where he'd once vetoed steak. His hands shook slightly as he slid a folder toward her. Inside, paperwork for a postnuptial agreement. "I had a lawyer draw this up," he said quietly. "Everything we own, house, investments, boat, retirement accounts, split 50-50 in case of divorce. The secret account money stays in joint savings forever." And I added a clause. "If I ever hide assets again, you get 70% of everything. No contest." Anna stared at the pages, then at him. "Why now?" He met her eyes, voice raw. "Because I finally get it. I thought I was protecting myself, but I was destroying us. You didn't just go back to work, Anna. You became unstoppable. And I realized if I don't fix this, really fix it, I'm going to lose you both. Not because you'll leave, but because you don't need me anymore. And that terrifies me more than any daycare ever could." Silence stretched between them. Heavy, electric. Anna felt the tears prick, not from hurt this time. From the sheer weight of victory. She'd rebuilt herself stronger, forced him to face the consequences. And now, he was volunteering to lock himself into accountability. She signed the postnup the next day. But here's the best part, folks. The cherry on top of this revenge Sunday. When she brought home the offer letter, Mark didn't flinch. He opened a bottle of champagne, the expensive kind, not the $12 grocery stuff he used to insist on. Poured 2 glasses, toasted her. "I'm proud of you," he said, eyes shining. "And I'm so damn sorry it took losing your trust to become the husband you deserve." Anna clinked her glass against his, felt the warmth spread through her chest. Not forgiveness yet, but something close to peace. Because the revenge wasn't divorce. It wasn't taking him to the cleaners. It was becoming the version of herself she'd postponed for years. Proving she could build security without relying on anyone who might betray her. And in doing so, forcing the man who hurt her to grow or get left behind. Some people say revenge is a dish best served cold, but Anna's, it was served with a side of empowerment, garnished with financial independence, and paired perfectly with the sound of her daughter's laughter echoing through a home that finally felt safe again. In Part 4, we'll dive into the long-term aftermath, the therapy sessions that actually worked, the boundaries that stuck, and the surprising way their marriage didn't just survive, but transformed. If this story is hitting you in all the right places, do me a favor, drop a like, share it with someone who needs to hear that betrayal doesn't get the final word. And tell me in the comments, have you ever turned a betrayal into your biggest glow-up? I read every single one. We've followed Anna through the discovery, the devastation, the defiant comeback. She turned betrayal into rocket fuel, landed a dream job, secured her finances, put their daughter in the best daycare imaginable, and watched Mark, the man who once controlled the narrative, shrink under the weight of his own consequences. But here's the part most revenge stories skip: the aftermath, the quiet, messy months when the adrenaline fades and you're left staring at the person you promised forever to, wondering if forever is still on the table. Because revenge can feel glorious in the moment. Empowerment can taste like freedom. Anna's pen hovering over the signature line. She signed it. Not because she trusted him again. God, no. She signed it because it was armor. Legal, ironclad proof that she would never be financially vulnerable to him again. And in that moment, something shifted in Mark too. He didn't celebrate the signing. He looked relieved, like he'd finally handed over the keys to the kingdom he'd been hoarding. But a post-nup isn't therapy. It's paperwork. And paperwork doesn't heal the kind of wounds they were carrying. They started counseling 2 weeks later. Not the fluffy, let's communicate better kind. The deep, ugly, drag everything into the light kind. With a therapist who specialized in financial infidelity and trauma. Because yes, folks, hiding money in a marriage is infidelity. It's just a different kind. The first session was brutal. Anna walked in armored, posture perfect, voice steady. Baby monitor app open on her phone in case daycare called. Mark looked like he hadn't slept in days, which he hadn't. The therapist, Dr. Rivera, calm, direct, no nonsense, started simple. Tell me why you're here. Anna went first. No tears, just facts delivered like bullets. He lied about his income for months, possibly years. Hid $45,000 while I quit my career to stay home, based on a plan we made together. Then gaslit me when I found out. Used his childhood trauma to manipulate me into staying financially dependent. I no longer feel safe in this marriage. Mark flinched with every word, but didn't interrupt. When it was his turn, his voice cracked immediately. I destroyed the trust of the only person who's ever truly loved me. I don't know why I did it. Control, fear, stupidity. All I know is I wake up every day terrified she's going to leave, and knowing I deserve it if she did. Dr. Rivera let the silence sit. Heavy, suffocating. Then she asked the question that broke them both open. Mark, when you were transferring that money into the secret account, what were you feeling? He stared at his hands for a long moment. Powerful, he whispered finally. Like I had something no one could take from me, not even her. Anna's sharp inhale was audible. She turned to him, eyes blazing. Do you hear yourself? You needed power over me after everything we built? The tears came then. From both of them, session after session, peeled back layers. They learned Mark's secret account wasn't about the money itself. It was about recreating the illusion of safety he'd lost when his brother died. His parents had been financially devastated after the lawsuit against the daycare. Settlements that never covered the grief. Somewhere in his subconscious, joint everything equaled vulnerability, equaled potential catastrophe. So he built a parachute. Without telling the person he was supposed to jump with, Anna learned her own patterns too. How her all-in trust wasn't just love, it was avoidance of conflict. How she'd ignored small red flags over the years. Mark's tight control over budgeting, his subtle dismissals of her financial opinions, the way he'd frame sacrifices as for the family when they mostly benefited his peace of mind. They fought in that office. Ugly, raw fights. One session, Anna unloaded 13 years of resentment. You let me believe we were equals, but the second I became dependent, you had your escape hatch ready. Do you know how that makes me feel? Like I was never your partner. Just the mother of your child until I wasn't useful anymore. Mark sobbed so hard he couldn't speak for 10 minutes. Another session, he finally admitted the deepest shame. Part of me resented you for getting to stay home. I know how twisted that sounds. But I was jealous that you'd have the bond with her that I never got with my brother. So I punished you for it by making sure I had something you didn't. Dr. Rivera didn't let them off easy. Homework every week, radical honesty exercises, separate journaling about fears, joint budgeting sessions where Anna led, deliberately putting Mark in the vulnerable position. And slowly, painfully slowly, something started to shift. Mark started showing up differently at home. He took over daycare drop-offs and pickups without complaint. Sat through parent-teacher conferences at Little Explorers, taking notes like a student. Came home and recounted every detail of their daughter's day with genuine wonder in his eyes. When Anna's big promotion to VP landed, he didn't just toast her with champagne. He framed the offer letter, hung it in her home office next to their daughter's first fingerprint art. He started therapy on his own too, processing the brother's death in ways he never had before. Came home from one session and handed Anna a letter. 3 pages, handwritten, detailing every transfer to the secret account, every lie he'd told himself to justify it, every moment he'd chosen fear over partnership. She read it in the nursery that night, baby asleep in her crib, tears dripping onto the pages. The turning point came 8 months into counseling. It was a random Thursday. Anna working late on a pitch deck, Mark handling bedtime solo. She came upstairs to find him in the rocking chair, their daughter asleep on his chest, his own tears soaking the baby's onesie. "What's wrong?" she asked, heart immediately clenching. He looked up, eyes red. "I just realized something. All those years I spent terrified of losing her to daycare. I almost lost her anyway, to my own bullshit. And you, I almost lost you." The real tragedy wouldn't have been a negligent caregiver. It would have been growing up in a home where her parents couldn't trust each other. Anna sat on the ottoman, reached for his hand, held it for the first time in months, without tension. They didn't kiss, didn't fall into each other's arms like a movie. But something loosened, a knot that had been strangling them both. Fast forward another year. Their daughter is almost 3 now, toddling, talking in full sentences, obsessed with dinosaurs and painting. The house is louder, messier, more alive. Anna's career? Soaring. She's not just VP, she's being groomed for Chief Marketing Officer. Her individual net worth has surpassed Mark's for the first time. She bought herself a car with her signing bonus, a sleek electric SUV, titled in her name only. Not revenge, just security. Mark? He's changed in ways no one saw coming. He took a lateral move at work for better work-life balance. Coaches their daughter's tiny soccer team on weekends. And this one's huge. He started volunteering at a nonprofit that inspects and rates daycare facilities, turning his greatest fear into advocacy for other families. They still go to therapy, monthly maintenance now, not weekly crisis. And yes, they renewed their vows. Not a big ceremony, just them, their daughter, and both sets of parents on the boat at sunset. The same boat Mark once suggested selling. A friend officiated. Simple words, real promises. Mark's vows choked everyone up. I promise to never again choose fear over you, to bring every fear to you instead of hiding from it, to celebrate your independence because it makes us stronger, not threatened, and to spend the rest of my life earning back the trust I broke. Anna's were shorter. I promised to forgive slowly and honestly, to keep my power and share it with you anyway, and to build a life where neither of us ever has to hide again. Their daughter threw flower petals, mostly at the ducks, and everyone cried. Is it perfect now? No. Trust isn't a light switch. There's still moments when money gets tight, when old patterns creep in, where Anna feels that familiar ice in her chest, where Mark has to breathe through panic instead of controlling it. But they talk about it immediately. No more secrets. And that, folks, might be the most satisfying revenge of all. Not destruction, transformation. Anna didn't just punish Mark for his betrayal. She forced him, through boundaries, through consequences, through her own unbreakable rise, to become a better man, a safer partner, a more present father. She turned his worst act into their greatest growth. Some commenters on the original post called her cold for using daycare as leverage. Others said she should have left. But Anna? She chose the harder path, staying, but on her terms. Rebuilding, but stronger. Getting revenge, not by leaving him broken, but by making him heal. Because sometimes the sweetest justice isn't watching someone lose everything. It's watching them finally understand what they almost destroyed and choosing to become worthy of it anyway. In our final part, Part 5, we'll wrap this journey with Anna's own words from an update post years later. The life they've built now and the lessons that hit hardest when betrayal tries to define your story. But you refuse to let it. If this series has meant something to you, if it's reminded you of your own strength or someone else's, share it. Leave a comment with the moment that hit you hardest. And if you're new here, subscribe. Because every week, we tell stories of people who turned pain into power. You're not alone in yours. See you for the finale. We've walked this road together for 4 parts now. From the shattering moment Anna discovered the secret account, through the rage, the gaslighting, the cold determination to rebuild, to the triumphant comeback that saw her earning more, standing taller, protecting her daughter on her own terms, and finally, the raw, tear-soaked therapy that forced both of them to grow or break. But every great story deserves its true ending, not the dramatic climax, but the quiet, years later truth, the update that tells you whether the revenge was worth it, whether the pain carved out space for something better. And lucky for us, Anna came back to Reddit 5 years after her original post. She wrote an update that thousands of people still reference to this day. I am going to read parts of it to you now, in her own words, with only light editing for flow, because nothing I could write would carry the weight she does. She titled it simply, 5-Year Update, The Husband Who Hid $45K, The Daycare Threat, and Where We Are Now. Here's the thing nobody tells you about financial betrayal. It doesn't end when the money comes back into the joint account. It doesn't end when he cries or signs a post-nup or starts therapy. It lives in your body for years. Every time money gets discussed, your stomach clenches. Every time he makes a joke about finances, you scan for subtext. Some nights, you still wake up at 3 a.m. wondering if there's another account you haven't found. But here's the other thing nobody tells you. It can get better. Not perfect, better. Our daughter is almost 6 now. She's fierce, hilarious, and reads at a second-grade level. She loves dinosaurs, soccer, and telling anyone who will listen that mommy runs a whole company from her office. She has zero memory of the year her parents barely spoke without a therapist present. Mark and I are still married. That surprises some people. It used to surprise me too. He never built another secret account, never even tried. The post-nup is still in the safe, gathering dust. After 3 years of couples therapy and 2 years of his own individual work, he became someone I could trust again. Slowly, cautiously, one consistent action at a time. He volunteers every month, inspecting daycare facilities for safety compliance. He says it's the only way he can turn his guilt into something useful. I believe him. I'm now Chief Marketing Officer. My total compensation last year cleared $500,000. We bought a bigger house, waterfront, with a dock for the boat we never sold. Half the down payment came from my bonus. That felt good. Not revenge anymore. Just balance. We have separate retirement accounts, separate high-yield savings, and a joint everything else. Transparency is non-negotiable. We review statements together every quarter like a business meeting. It used to feel cold. Now it feels safe. Do I still get triggered sometimes? Yes. When he travels for work and I see an unexplained ATM withdrawal, my heart races until I ask, and he shows me the receipt. But he shows me, every time, without defensiveness. He says the best thing I ever did was refuse to let his betrayal define our daughter's childhood. That by going back to work, by choosing the best daycare, by becoming financially unbreakable, I protected her from the fallout of his worst mistake. I think the best thing he ever did was choose to change. Not because I threatened to leave, though I was fully prepared to, but because he finally saw what his fear had almost cost him. To the people who told me to divorce him, I get it. Some betrayals are divorce level. This one almost was. But staying and demanding growth turned out to be my version of justice. To the people who called me cruel for using daycare as leverage. I wasn't punishing him. I was protecting myself and our child from a future where I had no power. Turns out the leverage worked on both of us. It forced me to stop postponing my own potential too. And to every new mom reading this who's terrified of postpartum rage or wondering if she's overreacting, you're allowed to be furious when someone breaks your trust. You're allowed to protect yourself. You're allowed to change the plan. Your anger doesn't make you broken. Sometimes it makes you brave. We're not a fairy tale. We're two imperfect people who almost lost everything and decided to build something sturdier from the wreckage. Thanks for holding space for my story all these years. OP. That update ends with hundreds of comments. People thanking her, sharing their own stories, some still debating whether she should have left. But the top comment, the one with thousands of upvotes, is simple. You didn't just get revenge. You got freedom. And you gave him a path to redemption. That's rarer than divorce papers. And I think that's the heartbeat of this entire story. Anna's revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't public humiliation or financial ruin. It was quiet, relentless self-rescue. She turned the worst moment of her marriage into the best version of herself. And in doing so, she created the conditions for her husband to either rise to meet her or lose her forever. He rose. They both did. So if you're watching this right now and you're in the middle of your own betrayal, financial, emotional, whatever form it takes, hear this. You are allowed to protect yourself. You are allowed to change the plan. You are allowed to become unstoppable. And sometimes the most satisfying revenge isn't watching someone else fall. It's rising so high they have to look up to see you, and realizing the view from up there is yours to keep, no matter what they do next. That's the end of Anna and Mark's story. If it moved you, if it made you think about your own life, your own boundaries, your own worth, do 3 things for me. First, hit that like button. It tells YouTube to show this story to someone else who might need it tonight. Second, drop a comment and tell me, what was the moment in this 5-part series that hit you the hardest? The discovery, the comeback, the therapy tears, the vow renewal on the boat? I read every single one, and your comments become the heartbeat of this channel. And third, if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications, because every week we bring you another real-life story of pain turned into power. People who refuse to let betrayal have the last word. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for holding space for Anna's journey. You're stronger than you think. I'll see you in the next one. Wrapped Anna and Mark's journey in part 5 with her 5-year update. The raw honesty, the hard-won peace, the little girl who will never know how close her parents came to losing everything. But stories like this don't end when the Reddit update drops. They ripple. They live in the comment sections, the private messages, the quiet moments when someone watching this series pauses the video, wipes their eyes, and finally makes the phone call they've been avoiding. So for this final bonus part 6, I want to do something a little different. I want to read you some of the real messages this story has inspired. Anonymized, of course, from viewers and Redditors over the years. Because the true payoff of Anna's revenge isn't just what happened to her and Mark. It's what happened to everyone who heard it at the exact moment they needed to. First message from a woman we'll call Sarah, sent about 2 years after the original series went live. I watched your Anna series while rocking my 3-month-old at 2 a.m., breastfeeding for the 3rd time that night. My husband had just forgotten to tell me he'd taken out a $12,000 personal loan to help his brother. We were supposed to be saving for a house. I felt exactly like Anna, stupid, trapped, furious. Your series gave me the script I didn't have. I confronted him the next morning. We're in therapy now. He paid off the loan with his bonus this year. We just closed on our house last month. Thank you for showing me that staying doesn't mean surrendering. Next, from a man named Chris. I was Mark, not the secret account. Worse, I hid credit card debt for years while my wife stayed home with our kids. I told myself it was to protect her from stress. Really, it was control and shame. Watching Mark finally admit in therapy that he wanted power over his wife, it wrecked me. I came clean the week I finished your series. We almost divorced, but we didn't. 5 years later, we're stronger than ever, and I coach financial literacy classes for couples now. Your video saved my family. I owe you and Anna everything. Another one, this from a young woman named Mia, just last year. I'm 24. My boyfriend of 4 years started getting weird about money right after I got promoted. Suddenly, we couldn't afford things, but he had new gadgets. I found a secret savings app on his phone, 8K hidden. I almost convinced myself I was overreacting. Then I rewatched your Anna series. I left, moved in with my sister, got my own place 6 months later. I'm killing it at work now and just bought my first investment property with my own money. Anna didn't just get revenge on her husband. She gave thousands of us permission to stop accepting less than we deserve. And one more. This one hit me hard. From a mom named Elena, earlier this year. My son died in daycare, 2019. Negligence, just like Mark's brother. I've carried survivor's guilt for years. Why did I go back to work? Why didn't I see the signs? Watching Mark turn his pain into volunteering for daycare safety. It healed something in me I didn't know was still bleeding. I started volunteering too. We've helped shut down 2 dangerous facilities this year. Thank you for telling the parts of the story that hurt the most. They're the parts that help the most. I get dozens of these every month. Some are triumphs. Some are still in the trenches. Women opening their first solo bank accounts. Men finally scheduling that therapy intake. Couples sitting down to look at statements together for the first time. And every single one reminds me why we do this. Because real revenge, the kind that lasts, isn't about destroying the person who hurt you. It's about refusing to let their worst moment become your ceiling. Anna didn't burn the marriage down. She renovated it, tore out the rotten beams, reinforced the foundation, added windows where there used to be walls. She turned betrayal into boundaries, fear into fuel, pain into power. And in doing so, she gave thousands of strangers the blueprint to do the same. So if you're watching this in December 2025, maybe during the quiet week between Christmas and New Year's, know that transformation is possible. Maybe while the house is finally silent and you're scrolling with a glass of wine or a cup of tea, know this: your story isn't over. The chapter you're in right now, the one that hurts the most, might be the one that saves someone else years from now. You are allowed to change the plan. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to rise. And if you ever doubt that, come back to Anna. She's proof that sometimes the sweetest revenge is simply becoming the version of yourself no one can ever take for granted again. Thank you for walking this entire journey with me. All 6 parts, from the devastating discovery to the hard-won peace, and now to the lives it touched along the way. This series exists because of you. The likes, the comments, the shares, the messages. If Anna's story helped you even a little, pay it forward. Share it with someone who needs it. Leave a comment with your own moment of rising. Hit subscribe if you haven't, because next week we start a brand new story, just as raw, just as redemptive. Until then, take care of yourselves. You deserve the kind of love that never makes you choose between your dreams and your safety. You deserve the kind of partnership that lifts you higher, not holds you back. And you deserve to write the ending that feels like justice, whatever that looks like for you. See you in the next one. It's December 29, 2025. The holidays are winding down. The house is quieter now. Maybe the kids are finally asleep, or you're stealing a rare moment alone with the glow of your screen. Outside, the year is ending, and with it, all the weight we've carried. I didn't plan when we started this journey, but over the last few weeks, something beautiful happened. This series, Anna and Mark's story, resurfaced, not just in old comments or random recommendations. It went viral again. New viewers discovering it for the first time. Old viewers rewatching and sharing it with friends going through their own betrayals. And the messages poured in, thousands of them. Not just great video, not just justice served, but life-changing confessions, fresh breakups, new boundaries drawn in shaky but determined hands, couples starting therapy because they finally saw what hiding money really costs. So tonight, on the edge of a brand new year, I want to close this chapter the way it deserves, by looking forward, by distilling everything Anna taught us into the lessons that matter most in 2025, when money stress is higher than ever, when trust feels fragile, when so many of us are one secret away from our own breaking point. Here are the 7 truths Anna's story carved into stone. 1. Financial betrayal is emotional abuse. It doesn't leave bruises you can photograph, but it erodes safety the same way. When someone hides money in a committed relationship, especially after you've made yourself vulnerable for the shared plan, they're saying, without words, "I matter more than we do." Anna refused to minimize it. She called it what it was, and in doing so, she gave thousands of people permission to stop gaslighting themselves. 2. Your anger is information. Postpartum rage, betrayal fury, the kind of anger that scares you because it feels too big for your body. Society tells women to swallow it, to wonder if it's hormones or depression or overreaction. Anna listened to hers. It told her, "This is not safe. Protect yourself." And she did. Your anger doesn't make you the villain. Sometimes it's the compass that leads you out of danger. 3. Independence is not punishment. It's oxygen. The most misunderstood part of Anna's revenge, the daycare decision and career comeback. People called her cruel, said she weaponized his trauma. But she wasn't punishing him. She was refusing to drown so he could stay comfortable. She chose oxygen, financial, emotional, professional, for herself and her daughter. And in doing so, she created the only conditions under which real change could happen. 4. Consequences are love in action. Mark didn't grow because Anna forgave him quickly. He grew because she refused to shield him from the results of his choices. The daycare drop-offs that forced him to face his fear daily. The separate savings account that reminded him trust is earned. The post-nup that said, "I love you enough to protect myself from you." Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone who hurt you is let them feel the full weight of it. 5. Revenge can be redemption. Not every story ends in divorce. Not every betrayal deserves a second chance. But when someone chooses, truly chooses, to dismantle their worst parts and rebuild better, that's redemption. And Anna's quiet, steady boundaries created the space for it. She didn't just get even, she got whole. And in the process, helped him become whole too. 6. Your children are watching how you handle disrespect. Anna's daughter will never remember the year her parents almost broke, but she'll grow up knowing her mother is powerful, that her voice matters, that love doesn't require self-erasure. She'll see her father volunteer to make daycares safer, turning guilt into purpose. She'll learn that mistakes don't define you, but how you repair them does. That's the legacy, not the fight. The healing. 7. You are allowed to change the story mid-chapter. They planned for years. The house, the savings, the one child, her staying home. One lie shattered the blueprint, and instead of clinging to the ruins, Anna rewrote the ending. Bigger career, stronger marriage, deeper trust earned through fire. You don't have to stay in the story someone else started breaking. You get to write a new one. Anytime, starting now. As 2025 turns into 2026 in just a few days, maybe you're carrying your own version of Anna's discovery. A secret account, a hidden debt, a partner who makes you feel small when you ask for transparency. Or maybe you're the one who's been hiding out of fear, shame, control. Wherever you are, know this. It's not too late to tell the truth. It's not too late to demand better. It's not too late to become the person your younger self needed you to be. Anna didn't just survive betrayal. She turned it into a masterclass in self-rescue. And now, years later, her story is still rescuing people. Maybe tonight, it rescued you. So as we close this 7-part journey, the longest, deepest story we've ever told on this channel, I want to say thank you. Thank you for trusting me with your time, for crying with Anna, for cheering her comeback, for sharing this series with the people who needed it most. This community, You're the real legacy. You're the ones turning pain into purpose. One view, one comment, one changed life at a time. So here's to 2026. May it be the year you stop accepting less than you deserve. The year you protect your peace like it's the most precious thing you own. The year you rise, quietly, fiercely, unapologetically, just like Anna did. I'll see you in the next story. Until then, keep going. You've got this. It's New Year's Eve, 2025. The world is getting ready to count down. Fireworks are being tested in harbors. Champagne is chilling. People are posting their New Year, New Me graphics, promising gyms and green juices and fresh starts. But here, in this quiet corner of the internet, something rarer is happening. A few weeks ago, after this series resurfaced and touched so many new lives, I did something I've never done before. I reached out, not through Reddit, not anonymously. I found Anna, and I asked gently, respectfully, if she would ever consider sharing one final message with all of you. The people who cried with her, cheered for her, rewatched her story when their own worlds cracked open. I didn't expect a reply, but yesterday morning, an email appeared in my inbox. Subject line, for your viewers, from the woman you call Anna. I'm going to read it to you now, exactly as she wrote it. No edits, just her voice. 10 years after the phone call that changed everything. Hi, everyone. You don't know my real name, and that's okay. I've always liked being Anna in your comments. It feels like a softer version of me, the one who survived. It's been almost 10 years since I wrote that first post. My daughter, the 4-week-old who slept through the worst fight of our marriage, turns 10 next month. She's got my stubborn streak and her dad's gentle eyes. She wants to be an astronaut or a marine biologist. She changes her mind every week, and we let her. That's new for us. We used to plan everything. I rewatched your series last week, all 8 hours of it. I hadn't seen it in years. I sat on the couch with a blanket and a glass of wine while my husband, yes, still my husband, made popcorn for movie night with our girl. I cried at parts I'd forgotten, laughed at others, felt proud of the woman on the screen who refused to shrink. You turned my worst year into something beautiful. You held it gently and passed it forward. Because of you, strangers have told me, through this channel, through Reddit screenshots, even once in a grocery store parking lot, that my story gave them the courage to open a secret bank statement, to book that therapy appointment, to leave, to stay and fight, to forgive, but never forget. So this is my thank you. To the ones still in the discovery stage, heart pounding, hands shaking, staring at numbers that don't add up. You are not crazy. You are not hormonal. You are not overreacting. Trust the clench in your stomach. It's trying to save you. To the ones in the rage stage, where every kind word from them feels like manipulation and every tear feels weaponized. Your anger is holy. Protect it. Use it to build something they can't touch. To the ones in the comeback stage, updating resumes at 3 a.m., opening that solo account, dropping off your kid at daycare with a lump in your throat and steel in your spine. You are becoming unstoppable, and it's allowed to feel terrifying and exhilarating at the same time. To the ones in the therapy trenches, where every session feels like bleeding in front of a stranger and progress feels invisible. Keep going. Some weeks will feel like backward steps, but one day you'll realize the air in the room is lighter. You'll laugh without scanning for danger. That day comes, I promise. To the ones who left, I'm proud of you. Your peace is worth more than any shared history. To the ones who stayed, I see you. Rebuilding is harder than leaving. But if they're doing the work, real, consistent, humble work, it can be worth it. Not for them, for the version of your family that deserves to exist. And to the partners who were marked, if you're watching this, hoping for a roadmap back, there's only one. Own it completely. No, but I was scared. No, you spent too much too. Just, I broke this. I will fix it every single day for as long as it takes. And if they choose to leave anyway, respect it. You don't get to decide their healing timeline. We're okay now. More than okay. We have 2 kids now, our daughter and a surprise little boy who arrived 4 years ago. He's got Mark's crooked smile and my loud laugh. We never planned for 2. Life laughed at our plans. Mark still volunteers with Daycare Safety. I joined the board last year. We've helped pass 2 new state regulations. It's the strangest kind of full-circle healing. I'm Chief Revenue Officer now at a company I helped take public. My bonus this year paid cash for both kids' college funds. Mark framed the offer letter, same as he did the first one. It hangs next to our wedding photo and a crayon drawing of our family on the boat. We still fight sometimes. About stupid things. Whose turn it is to unload the dishwasher. Whether the kids need another extracurricular. Normal fights, not survival fights. We still do quarterly money dates, spreadsheets, and takeout. It used to feel like punishment. Now it feels like safety. And every New Year's Eve, we put the kids to bed early and sit on the dock with the same bottle of champagne we opened the night I got my VP offer. We toast the year we almost lost everything, and the decade we built something stronger instead. So thank you for keeping my story alive, for letting it keep helping people, for proving that sharing pain can turn it into someone else's lifeline. Wherever you are tonight, counting down alone, or with someone who's earning back your trust, or with a new love who's never seen you at your most broken, know this: you are writing the next chapter right now. Make it the one you'll be proud to read back in 10 years. Happy New Year. With love, the woman you call Anna. That's it. The circle closes. Not with fireworks or a dramatic twist. Just with a woman on the other side of the hardest thing she ever faced. Choosing gratitude. Choosing to pass forward the light you all helped her carry. So as the clock strikes midnight wherever you are, take a breath. Look at your life, the parts that hurt, the parts that heal, the parts still becoming. And know you're not alone. You never were. This channel started with stories of revenge, but Anna's taught us the deepest truth. Sometimes the ultimate revenge is simply refusing to let someone else's worst moment become the end of your best story. Here's to 2026. May it be kind to you. May it be brave for you. May it be yours. Good night, everyone. I'll see you in the next story. But Anna's, it lives in all of us now. It's January 1st, 2026 now. The ball has dropped somewhere in the world. Resolutions are being whispered into the dark. Hangovers are brewing alongside fresh coffee. I wasn't going to make this one. It felt complete. The dock at sunset. The 2 kids. The quarterly money dates that feel like safety instead of sentences. The vow renewal words still echoing. But then the messages kept coming. Not dozens, thousands. And something shifted. This isn't my story anymore. It isn't even Anna's alone. It's ours. So tonight, on the first day of a brand new year, I want to hand the microphone to you, the people who turned one woman's heartbreak into a movement. These are real messages, names changed, details protected, but every word is theirs. First, from a woman we'll call Leela, a new mom who watched this series at 4 a.m. feeds last January. I was exactly 4 weeks postpartum when I found your first video. My husband had been tightening the budget for months. No new baby clothes, no takeout, nothing extra. Then I saw a random charge on our joint card, $800 to a jewelry store. He said it was a work bonus gift for a colleague. I believed him until I found the receipt in his gym bag for a necklace for someone whose name was saved in his phone as Greg from IT. I watched Anna discover the secret account and felt my chest cave in. I confronted him that night. He admitted the affair. We're divorced now. I kept the house because of the proof I gathered while watching your series. Screenshots, timelines, everything. My son is 14 months old. I'm back at work, killing it. And he's in the most beautiful daycare, with teachers who send me photos of him laughing all day. Anna didn't just save my finances. She saved my future. Thank you for keeping her story alive. Next, from a husband named Daniel. I was Mark, not the daycare trauma, gambling. I told my wife we were broke while I lost $60,000 online over 2 years. Lied about overtime pay vanishing. Watched her coupon clip and skip hair appointments while I chased the next win. I finished your series on a work break, locked in a bathroom stall, crying so hard I couldn't breathe. I came home that night and told her everything. Showed her the accounts. We almost ended. But she said the same thing Anna did. This isn't about the money anymore. It's about whether you're willing to become someone I can trust again. We're 3 years into recovery. I'm in GA. We have separate accounts now, plus joint. She got promoted last year. I coach Little League on weekends. Some days, the shame still hits like a truck. But I'm becoming the man she deserved all along. Your videos didn't just expose me. They offered a way through. I'll never stop being grateful. From a young woman named Zoe, 23 years old. I've never been married, never even had a serious boyfriend, but my mom stayed with my dad for 30 years while he hid affairs and money. She had nothing when he left her at 55. No skills, no savings, just alimony that barely covers rent. I watched Anna's comeback and realized I don't have to repeat that. I opened my first high-yield savings last month, started side hustling, told my current situationship up front. Transparency or nothing. Anna showed me that strength isn't waiting for someone to change. It's building your own door out before you ever need it. I'm not waiting to be betrayed to start protecting myself. I'm doing it now. And finally, this one came just yesterday from a woman named Grace. I lost my baby brother in daycare. 2018. Same kind of negligence Mark feared. I hated him at first. How dare he use that trauma as manipulation? But then you told the part where he started volunteering for safety inspections, turned his worst memory into protection for other kids. I started volunteering too. Last month, we helped close a facility with 47 violations. 62 children are safer because of it. Anna's story didn't just heal marriages, it healed strangers carrying the same wound. Thank you for telling the hard parts. I could read these for hours. There are stories of women who left, who stayed, who forgave, who didn't. Stories of men who changed, who didn't, who are still trying. Stories of people who've never commented before, but finally typed, "Me too." This series has been viewed millions of times now, shared in domestic violence support groups, played in financial literacy classes, sent by therapists to clients walking the same tightrope. And the common thread in every message: thank you for making me feel less alone. That's the real legacy. Not the revenge, not even the redemption. The ripple. One woman's refusal to stay small became a lighthouse for thousands navigating the same storm. So here's my promise to you and to Anna as we close this chapter for good. As long as there's a new mom staring at a bank statement that doesn't add up, as long as there's a partner carrying shame they're terrified to confess, as long as there's someone wondering if their anger is justified or just hormones, we'll keep this story alive, not as drama, not as clickbait, as proof. Proof that betrayal doesn't get the final word. Proof that boundaries aren't cruel, they're oxygen. Proof that sometimes the person who hurts you most can become the catalyst for your greatest becoming. And proof that none of us have to walk this alone. So thank you for watching, for commenting, for sharing, for changing. You turned 9 parts into something eternal. Here's to 2026. May it be the year you protect your peace like it's sacred. May it be the year you demand transparency and offer it in return. May it be the year you rise exactly as you are, exactly where you are, just like Anna did, and just like thousands of you already are. The dock light is still on. The champagne is still cold. The story isn't over. It's just becoming yours now. Good night, beautiful people. I'll see you in the next one. But Anna, she's in all of us, forever. It's January 2, 2026. The holidays are packed away. The resolutions have either taken root or quietly slipped. Life is settling back into rhythm. And here we are, part 10. The part I swore I wouldn't make. After Anna's own letter in part 8, after the thousands of lives touched in part 9, it felt finished, sealed, sacred. But something kept whispering, one more, because stories like this don't end. They evolve. They become the air we breathe when we're scared, the armor we put on when we're vulnerable, the quiet voice in the dark that says, you can do this too. So this final part isn't about new revelations. It's about permanence. It's about why 10 years from now, 20, 30, people will still find Anna's story in the middle of the night, heart pounding, and feel the exact same rush of recognition. Because betrayal hasn't gone anywhere. Financial secrets haven't gone anywhere. The fear of being too much or not enough hasn't gone anywhere. But neither has courage, and that's the eternal flame Anna lit. Let me tell you what happens when a story truly lives forever. It becomes shorthand. In therapy offices, counselors say, "Have you heard the Anna story?" In Reddit threads titled AITA for going back to work after discovering hidden money, commenters drop, "This is literally Anna. Search the 2025 series." In late-night group chats between new moms, "Watch this. It'll change everything." It becomes ritual. Women open their first solo bank account and text the link to their best friend. This is why. Men confess their own hidden debts and say, "I don't want to be the old Mark. I want to be the one who changed." Couples on the brink sit side by side on the couch, earbuds in, watching every part without pausing, then finally look at each other and say, "We're booking therapy tomorrow." It becomes ancestry. There are children now, born long after the original post, whose middle names are quiet nods to strength they'll never fully understand until they're older. There are marriages that survived because someone hit play at exactly the right moment. There are divorces that were kinder, fairer, because someone learned boundaries don't make you cruel. They make you safe. And it becomes hope, the kind that doesn't shout, the kind that sits with you in the dark and says, "You are not the first to feel this. You will not be the last to rise from it. And you are never, ever alone." Anna never asked for any of this. She posted one raw, exhausted question to Reddit. AITA. But that's what happens when one person refuses to stay broken. They light a fire others can warm their hands by for generations. So this is the last thing I'll ever say about Anna. Not goodbye, thank you. Thank you for trusting us with your worst moment. Thank you for showing us what rising looks like in real time. Thank you for proving that revenge doesn't always look like destruction. Sometimes it looks like becoming so whole that no one can ever make you feel half again. And thank you, all of you, for carrying her flame. Every time you share this series, every time you choose transparency over control, every time you protect your peace instead of shrinking to keep someone else comfortable, you keep her story alive. You keep the ripple going. You keep proving that one woman's courage can change thousands of lives without her ever knowing most of their names. The dock light is still on. The boat is still tied up, ready for sunset cruises and quiet conversations. The spreadsheets are still open every quarter. The kids are still growing, loud, messy, perfect. And the story? It's yours now. Carry it gently. Carry it fiercely. Carry it forward. Because as long as there's someone out there wondering if they're overreacting, as long as there's someone staring at a bank statement that doesn't add up, as long as there's someone afraid that protecting themselves means losing everything, Anna's story will be waiting. Quiet, steady, eternal. And it will whisper the same truth it's whispered since that very first phone call. You are allowed to change the plan. You are allowed to rise. You are allowed to become the version of yourself no one can take for granted, ever again. So light your own flame, pass it on, and know that somewhere on a dock at sunset, a woman you've never met is raising a glass to you, to all of us, to the ones who refused to let betrayal write the ending. Happy New Year. Happy new chapter. Happy forever. The story doesn't end here. It begins again. Every time someone hits play. For Anna. For every viewer who became the next Anna. For the ones still watching in the dark. Thank you. This series is dedicated to you.